Welcome to another episode of Joan Deserves a Musical, where I talk about my efforts to turn the life of Joan of Arc into a family-friendly animated musical. In my last episode, I talked about how I had had the chance to pitch this thing to an investor, and that didn't work out, but it brought some really cool learnings, and David, my songwriter's agent manager type person, and I worked together to put together an investor packet. And this came together mostly after the pitch and the potential investor had fallen apart. But we had learned a lot of things. We had received a lot of questions we didn't know answers to as part of that pitch process. And so we started researching and putting this together because film is new for us, right? He's been agenting this professional recording artist, but the world of film is very different. And so we've been researching what kinds of companies invest in independent film projects like this. What kind of investment terms are common? How do you split profits? What happens if there are no profits? Who pays for distribution? All these kinds of things. And we learned a lot. And as we were doing this, I started going out and looking for these companies that invest in film projects like this. And I learned something very interesting. It was shocking to me, honestly. And I think this just goes to show I'm not a millionaire. I don't think like an ultra wealthy person or organization. But we have this film project we're pitching, right? We have a $15 million budget, and now, thanks to our executive producer at our animation studio, we have it broken down line by line. We know exactly where all that money is going. $15 million gets a movie made. Great. And that's a small amount for a movie, right? Like Moana 2 cost evenly 10 times that much. It was $150 million. Inside Out 2 was $200 million. Most big studio animated films coming out are in that 9-figure budget range. And we're coming in well below that, right? You can make 10 of our movies for the cost of one of those movies. And I've said that before as a means of saying, like, look what a bargain this is. But actually it turns out that if you are the sort of institution that might invest in an independent film project, you actually would prefer to invest in 10 $15 million movies rather than one. Probably not 10. That's a ridiculous number. But like 3 to 5 is a good range, right? Because film is inherently risky. Most independent film projects do not turn a significant profit. And if you're going to be investing millions of dollars in something, you want to mitigate that risk as much as possible. You want to ensure you have a return on investment. And so it is seen as a more prudent, a more savvy investment to invest in what's called a slate of films, a collection, a franchise, a series of films that are each, say, $15 million, right? Because if you spend $45 million to make 3 movies, there's a good chance one of them might succeed. Whereas if you spend $15 million on a one-shot, then if it fails, you fail, right? There is no security blanket, no safety net there for you. This is bonkers to me, guys. $15 million is more money than I can imagine. It's more money than I will earn in my lifetime, easily, by an order of magnitude. And yet, if you have deep enough pockets that you're willing to make that kind of investment, you would rather make 3 to 5 of those investments than just one. All right, that's interesting. You can't do a sequel to Joan of Arc. That's just not going to work. Not if it's going to be family friendly anyway, because like I said, I dropped the curtain before she dies, and we're not making that other movie. Nope. And so my songwriter and I started brainstorming. We started thinking, who else could we make animated musicals about? Is that a thing we'd want to do? And we started thinking, yeah. I've always said that the main thing I want to earn with this movie is not any money. It's just the right to do it again, right? The opportunity to do it a second time. If I can really do Joan well, maybe I could tell some other story in a similar way. And I really have enjoyed the process of researching a historical figure and taking what is known and figuring out can this story be told? Should it be told as an animated musical? Joan is special because I really feel her story demands to be told this way, and it's crazy nobody's done it yet. But maybe there are others in this same camp. And so I have started casting about. I've started looking. Who else could I make an animated musical about? And for a little while, I was very excited about Harriet Tubman. there's a charismatic figure for you, and lends itself to music. She sang songs to signal to the people she was rescuing. And so I got a bunch of books from the library about Harriet Tubman, like I did for Joan a few years ago. And it turns out we know very little about Harriet Tubman. If you have ever seen a movie about Harriet Tubman, it is mostly fiction. Which makes sense, actually, because the Underground Railroad was incredibly secretive. If Harriet had come into Philadelphia carrying a bunch of people she had just helped escape from enslavement and said, yes, here's a map of exactly where we went. Here are the stops we went along the way. Here's a list of names of people who helped us. That would be stupid, right? That all those people would get arrested. All those places would get guards. And so even though she did this many, many times and she saved a lot of people, it is not actually clear how she did it. We know a lot of contextual things around it, but the actual adventures we went on, the historical record is silent, which is really surprising to me. She lived to a pretty old age. She actually fought for like women's suffrage and stuff. And she told a lot of people her stories, but it was a time when people wanted folklore more than historical facts, and like everything is exaggerated. And modern scholarship is like, all the big numbers you've heard, they're smaller, they're still impressive, but they're different. And it just turns out we can't tell that story unless we want to make it up. And if I want to write fiction, I would just write fiction. I would not write a fictitious story and say, this is Harriet Tubman, right? So Harriet is out. I became very excited about Queen Elizabeth I. Super interesting. Read a very long book about her life. It's vast, right? There's no one adventure we can say, this is the Queen Elizabeth story, right? With Joan, it's very clearly, she says she needs to lead the army, she leads the army, she gets the king crowned, right? That is a story that has an arc, that is a hero journey, heroism, great. Queen Elizabeth is a very long reign, a lot of political turmoil, but no clear, yes, we could tell this one story, right? I got very excited. It was an interesting time when she was Queen of England. There was Mary, Queen of Scots, and there was Grace O'Malley over in Ireland, who was a pirate queen. There were these three women in a time when women were not ruling, and they all ruled at the same time in this same the British Isles, right? And maybe there's a story there, but you want to talk about fragmentary historical records. Grace O'Malley, very much a character of legend, even though we are sure she was a real person. We know so little about her. And Mary, Queen of Scots, just mostly seems very tragic and sad. So this is hard, as it turns out. I still don't know. It really felt like a spiritual journey for me, deciding to write this movie about Joan of Arc. But in some ways it is very lucky that she's the one I was led to, because if I was led to any other incredible woman of history or person of history, is far less likely the journey would have gone as smoothly. Joan's story just really lends itself to this kind of storytelling. But there are some folks I'm still working on researching that I think would be really fun as a follow-up. Marie Curie has caught my attention. I don't mean for all of these stories to take place in France, but she's really cool. I was led to her because I saw one of these ranty YouTube videos that was a review of some recent movie, and it was pointing out that Hollywood has a problem right now with strong characters, strong women characters in particular, but all strong characters. We seem to tell these stories over and over of, if you want to be a hero, you have to give up your friends and any love life and any sort of family connections and be a lone wolf. And the person making this video, Master Samwise, who is great, said, if you prioritize your own ambitions over human relationships, you're not a hero, you're a villain. And this is a thing we see over and over and over with a lot of women. And it just got me thinking, are there any women in history who were equally yoked with her, a married couple or something, or a partnership where two people working together and having a friendship or having love accomplish more together than they would have on their own? And that's what led me to Marie Curie. It's really a remarkable story. She was an ambitious, brilliant mathematician with an interest in science, and she ended up marrying this guy who was equally brilliant but far less ambitious, but was really good with his hands. And he had invented some machines that were very good at measuring electricity things, and so they get married and they discover radium and polonium and radiation, and it's great. And so I'm kind of roughing that story out right now. I think there are others. Florence Nightingale seems really interesting to me. Amelia Earhart could be fun. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, all of it's just to say, for now, I am still very much focused on Joan. If we don't find a home for this first movie, we will not get to make any subsequent movies. But Amanda, my songwriter, and I are both very excited about this prospect of this being a long-term thing and there being more movies in the mix. So this investor packet we have created pitches this idea of invest in a slate of movies. We will make 3, and the people we list are Marie Curie and Florence Nightingale. But we say there, history is a well that always refills itself, right? We won't run out of people to tell stories about, and hopefully a lot of them turn out to be good for musicals. But that is a new thought that we're having now. And just so many things have happened this summer. I'm going to keep on the weekly cadence, and I'm going to let you know more next time about some other things we're working on.